coming up, just 4 points separating the two teams going into this clash. And our boys in Barcelona are all over it ahead of the game. This is how the odds are looking for Barca against Real Madrid going into the clash between these two sides. Barcelona obviously winning the 3 previous Clásicos this season. Real Madrid in a must-win encounter here. And we've got Dan, Luis and Craig with us for all of the action and all of the talk ahead of the big game. So I'm going to send it over to you, Dan, with all the news, all the latest news.
I'll just send it to you, Dan. You can do all the work. Thank you very much, Kay. Craig and Luis alongside me. Before we look ahead properly to what's happening this weekend, Luis, it's the first time we've had you on since that defeat against Inter. Just your reaction overall, having a couple of days to dwell on it. Like, how much from Barcelona's perspective is it disappointment, not getting across the line, not being professional enough, or kind of a pride that, you know, they kept going when they were 2-0 down, as Craig mentioned, in both legs?
I think a little bit of everything, to be honest, because it's true that when you're watching the game and you see that you are losing 2-0 and you feel that you can make it because you've done it before, that comeback, managed to get back, to go ahead on the score, and just a few minutes after you are out of the competition, out of the Champions League final after 10 years, I think that the frustration to the players, to the supporters, to the club has been, I think, massive. Can they change the mentality to the game for Sunday? I think that they can, but definitely it was a big blow for them that not being involved, not having the opportunity or not manage the situation. We talked a lot about this one, and I think that Craig will agree with me that at some point we mentioned, listen, this Barcelona is lack of experience. Yeah. In this kind of moment, they understand that you cannot play all the time that highlight, you cannot play all the time intensity, because at some points you need to, you're playing against one of the best teams, and you've seen it, how they have played. So you need to address that, and it's been many times that you feel it. But I still think that Barcelona did a fantastic job. Not enough to go to the final. As
a player, Craig, how do you turn the page on it? How do you use it as a motivation for Sunday? Or do you even need motivation?
You never need motivations for games that are as big as this when the pressure is on. As a player, you have to sort of learn as you go, as you get more experience, which Barcelona don't really have a lot of, as a lot of young kids. But you have to learn how to sort of brush these things off, as difficult as it is. You lose a derby game, you lose a big game at international football. You know, you play on a Saturday, you play on a Tuesday, Wednesday with internationals. Might be a defeat at the weekend, you've got to go again. It's just the same here. You have to go again. There's a league title at stake. I'm just wondering, you know, in terms of how you feel for this, Luis, what's going to be more difficult? Is it the physical aspect that Barcelona went through, picking themselves up for, or the mental aspect? What one is going to be the most difficult for them to take into this game?
I'm more worried about the physical aspect in the second half, to be honest, Greg, because mentally you know that there is a Clasico and you arrive there and you know that winning it or even with the draw it could be enough. So you are ready to fight that mental side. You kind of clean what happened and you focus on that game. But after 60 minutes, the things are not going your way. I'm not sure if this Barcelona is ready to have that intensity during 90 minutes. And against Real Madrid, you know that 10 minutes can put you away of the competition, put you away of the game in this case. So I'm a little bit afraid of that lack of consistency during the 90 minutes. We've seen the Barcelona times at some point where they got the low, they feel that they are not ready. 20 minutes can happen, and it happens against Inter and the Milan, and you can see 2 goals.
I mean, if you heard that tearing, that's by the way, someone's just sorting out our lighting. Craig apparently looks a little old, and he just complained about it.
I quite like doing TV in the dark.
I think most viewers enjoy that.
I don't know what was happening. I was saying the noise.
And here's the other question. Do Barcelona even need to get near their best? Which we certainly saw in the Inter games going forward.
Yeah.
Not defensively, because if you lose 7 goals in 2 games, you're doing things wrong. But that's the way they've played the season. Do they even have to get anywhere near 90-95% of the best to beat this Real Madrid side? Particularly in its current guise, with the form they're in, with the pressure they're under, and with the injuries they have. So I'm not even sure we need a full strength, 100% Barcelona turning up. I think as long as they play the way we know they can do, particularly going forward, and manage to sort of squeeze Mbappe and Vinicius, who we think will be the front 2 out of the game, I think they're going to be good.
What's interesting, Luis, like if I'm a Real Madrid fan, I'm hanging my hat on that second half performance in the Copa del Rey final. That's what I want to see from the start. And to Craig's point, if we can play like that, if Real Madrid can play like that, then they will push them, surely, all the way.
Yeah, but it's not many times that we've seen that Real Madrid. I was right. Dortmund, we go back to Dortmund. Yes, it's true. And we mention all the time. Do you remember? And I remember that in some of the shows that we did, Craig always go to Dortmund because we remember that game and that intensity and that desire and determination of Real Madrid. But we haven't seen that much. And you play away and you are needed. You need to get that result, and you maybe push yourself and you rush yourself, and that's something that Barcelona can get in the way. But I still think that Barcelona, in the moment that they are right now, they are favorites for the game. But also I can tell you that this Real Madrid, with 2 sparks, they can score you 2 goals and you still haven't started even the game. So that's my worry concern when we are talking about this Barcelona side, that in the past month it looks really, really vulnerable.
What's really interesting in all the build-up to this game from a Real Madrid perspective, Craig, it's not Kylian Mbappe, it's not Vinicius Junior, it's not Bellingham. It's Arda Güler. That is kind of the big talking point, given his performance against Celta Vigo.
Is he going to play? Is he not?
Well, I think he'll definitely play. I think he'll play. There'll be no Rodrigo. But does he make enough difference to this side to give them that edge?
Who else is making the difference? Because
that's where we're at.
That is where we're at, and if you watched him against Celta de Vigo, he had a sort of defensively he had a structured role, but offensively when they had the ball, he could pretty much float around, and he did. Obviously got on the score sheet, was a creator as well with a great pass through to, I think it was Mbappe in the second half, and he sort of floated around and picked up nice positions, and he's very tidy on the ball. And his chances have been limited, but that's kind of where they are. Ancelotti's looking for somebody to come in and help him out and make a difference. It doesn't matter who it is. He turned to his bench and he's saying, I need some help. And at least he's put his hand up at the Güler and said, look, give me a chance. So he's taken it. This is the bigger step, the bigger opportunity. Yeah. Can he make that difference? Can he be the supply chain for the front guys in a game like this away from home? That's the big question.
If I'm Hansi Flick, I will be more worried about Arda Güler and his free role in the middle of the park than Rodrigo, that I know that he's going to be there on the right side. He's, of course, the speed. He's very quick and skillful, and he's dangerous, but he hasn't been in great form, to be honest, in the past month and a half. And you got Arda Güler, and he floats around, keeps the ball well, and he's got that timing. Fantastic pass, and you got 2 players up front who can do the job. A couple of runs, a couple of good passes from Arda Güler, and Barcelona is in trouble.
Taking a look at the top of the Premier League right now, because first and second play each other on Sunday at Anfield, and ahead of the game, Arne Slot has revealed that Conor Bradley is set to start, following on from Trent Alexander-Arnold announcing that he's leaving the club.
Like everybody who likes Liverpool and who's a fan of Liverpool, we are disappointed for him leaving, because not only a good human being is leaving the club, but a very, very, very good fullback is leaving us as well. But I also worked at clubs like AZ Alkmaar and Feyenoord, where every season a very good or multiple very good players have left the club. So I'm a bit more used to it, maybe, that players leaving the club, and the experience I have, and by the way, this club as well, that if a very good player is leaving, the next very good player will step up, and that's probably what's going to happen now again as well.
Craig and Luis are still with us here. Luis, I want to get your thoughts on this situation with Trent Alexander-Arnold and whether you think Conor Bradley is a good enough replacement for him.
Of course, it's not an easy situation for anyone, not even for Conor Bradley. There, I'm sure that he will be delighted to be part of the game. I think he showed us, I remember one of his best games when he had the chance to score. I think it was against Chelsea on a 4-1 win. Fantastic on the right side. I think he showed that he's got the talent and the will to do a good job for Liverpool. Of course, he's lacking a little bit of experience, but he will get there. I think he's surrounded by amazing players who will help him to kind of fill up the big gap that Alexander-Arnold is going to leave there at Liverpool. And for Trent, I think that everyone at Liverpool knows that at some point this could happen. He have made the decision, and I think the farewell he has to be there at some point. I think he's done everything for the club, and he wants to have a new challenge. We'll see where he ends up. But I think that definitely Conor Bradley is good enough to play for Liverpool. And again, it will take a little bit of time, adaptation to get back into that rhythm of the competition. But right now, with the team already lifting the trophy and just with a few games to the end, I think it will be a fantastic opportunity for him to show his quality.
Craig, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, it's a great shot in the arm for Conor. What's he laughing at?
We've only asked you 3 times.
I don't think you heard the first time.
No, we lost. I know I'm not blanking you, but we lost the sound again. I think you figured that one out. So, yeah, it's a great shot in the arm for Conor Bradley. Of course it is. It's not like for like. So you're going to have to change your style a little bit because nobody can play. Probably nobody in Europe as a fullback can play and has the range of passing that Alexander-Arnold has. Of course, he has his defensive deficiencies that are well documented and we've talked about. But it's just a great boost for the youngster who's got great pace. He's very direct, he's very quick, he's very aggressive, but he's also very inexperienced. And he's not going to be able to give you what Alexander-Arnold gave you in the final third, those 50, 60-yard balls, those ranging passes, those free kicks. But who out there are you going to buy that's going to do that? So you got a choice to make, and the choice is in-house, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll be too much for the lad. Maybe the pressure will get to him. Who knows if he's the regular sort of fullback and he's expected to do it week in, week out, rather than just coming in off the back of somebody getting a rest. So yeah, it's a decision that's been made, but it's also a decision that can change, and it's up to the young Conor Bradley to take that opportunity.
And obviously in opportunities like this at the weekend, these are the times that he can show the coach he's the right man for the job.
I don't think there's any question that he doesn't have the tools for the job. He absolutely has everything. Craig's talked about all the things that he does have. And in terms of Trent Alexander, you're never going to replicate, and you never do replicate. You know, when you bring a different player in, what you've got to concentrate on is the positive things that they give you as a team, and then you adjust from there. And there's no question, from a defensive point of view, it's going to be a million times better. Now, yes, you're going to lose that incredible passing range, but Conor Bradley, in the short period of time that he's played in the first team, has shown you going forward that he's capable as well. Lewis is talking about that Chelsea game where he scored, he had an assist. So he actually has all the tools. My only worry for him is if he can stay fit. You know, for a young man, he's had some injuries in the time that he's broken into now. And if he can stay fit, I have absolutely no problem at all in thinking that Conor Bradley will be Liverpool's right back for the foreseeable future.
As for Trent, what type of send-off do you think he's going to get? A warm one?
Well, I hope so. You know, all this nonsense about leaving Liverpool and he should be staying, and, you know, come on. How about you look at it the other way around? Look at the service he's given Liverpool. Cost him absolutely nothing. It goes both ways. The club have absolutely benefited from Alexander-Arnold playing for Liverpool, and Alexander-Arnold absolutely has benefited as well playing for Liverpool. So how about you give him a nice round of applause, a clap, whatever you want, buy him a beer, I don't care, but make sure it's a good send-off.
Now, it's not definite, it's not confirmed, it's not official that he's moving to Real Madrid, Luis, but many think that that is the next destination. If that is to be the case, how will that move go for him?
Yeah, it's been the rumor has been there for quite a long time. It's not the first time we talk about Trent leaving Liverpool, and the looked like the direction was going to Real Madrid. We'll see if that's going to happen, but definitely for him it's a massive move. Real Madrid is one of those global teams followed by millions and millions around the world. It's always a jersey comes with a lot of pressure, but I'm sure that he's already aware of that, and he's been in the biggest stages, so we know what that pressure means. But definitely for Real Madrid is a massive move. I think that having the opportunity to have a player like him, you guys have been mentioning about that is a unique, no replacement. Lucas Vázquez looks like he's gonna leave the club. He hasn't received a new contract. He's gonna be Carvajal, that is not getting any younger, so he's also coming from a long injury. So in the end, he's a player who is going to add so much to this Real Madrid side, with players that are going to be so getting advantage of these fantastic long-range passes. Vinicius Junior, Kylian Mbappe, players who love this kind of passing and players who can create opportunity for them. So I think there is a fantastic connection, the ones that both parts are going to have. Real Madrid having Trent, and of course Trent being at Real Madrid.
Well, we're talking about Liverpool. Craig, Mohamed Salah has been voted Football Writers Association's Player of the Year. He's said to have won by the biggest margin this century, with 90% of all votes cast. Would he have been your pick?
I'll say yes, because I haven't really given it much thought. I mean, it tailed off in the end a little bit, didn't it, with the contract talks and is he staying, is he going? And he lost a little bit of form as Liverpool lost a little bit of form as you know, the league was quite clear that they were going to win it, and I think everybody took a little step down. He is going to be playing on a big platform and possibly pushing Liverpool again next year to which will be another big fight really with Arsenal and maybe Man City. We'll see who else is in there. Champions League as well. So it's just huge, Luis.
I think that consistency, because if you have a look to all the players who have had the chance, neither of them have the opportunity to keep that consistency in scoring goal, assisting, being important. It's true that in the last part of the season he had that low. But again, if you try to find someone else that have kept that consistency, there is no.
But at his age now, can he? I mean, they've given him a new contract. Yeah. Obviously, it's not a long contract.
Yeah.
But can he keep that consistency going? Because if he doesn't, which is difficult to do, but if he doesn't do that, then they're going to have to go out and buy a striker, because you have to sort of replace those goals.
Yes, definitely. And it's not going to be easy. A player who can give you 30, 35 goals a season is not easy at all. How much money you have to spend to bring a player like that one on these days, where most of them they are already taken. Not easy. But again, we've been talking about Mo Salah for quite a long time. We've been waiting. A lot of people have been waiting to see now. Is this year? No, it's next year. And he stays. And he kept going, and he kept scoring, and he kept showing that he's a massive player for Liverpool. So we'll have to wait and see, but definitely he's still the stamina, at least this season he has shown us. Doesn't get injured, that is also fantastic. So hopefully we can see the best of Mo Salah next season too.
Now, obviously, we know only the creme de la creme win this award.
Yeah.
The Football Writers Association
right.
Player of the Year. You want it yourself, Stevie. Stevie, you, of course, won this award. And as Craig said, Mohamed Salah can often drive you nuts. But is he a worthy winner for you this year?
I think so. Look, if Van Dijk had won it, you couldn't have complained. But at the end of the day, the game's about scoring goals. And the biggest pressure is on the goal scorers. And Luis said it, he's been doing it year in, year out, and again he's done it this year. And again, without his goals, do Liverpool win the title? So, yeah, absolutely, he deserves it.
I think as we said right now, today, there's only one candidate to win it, and that's Mo Salah. And despite, as Craig rightly points out, Liverpool kind of tailing off towards the back end of the season, as has Mo Salah, but still, right now, Liverpool have been the outstanding team in English football. My only caveat to that is, when is the voting or the polling done? Had Arsenal somehow gotten the better of PSG and gotten to a Champions League final, are we then having a different conversation? Are there other candidates that maybe kind of given Mo Salah's tailing off towards the back end of the season, other candidates that leapfrog Mo Salah in that voting? But they didn't, so it's a moot point. As we said right now, there can only be one winner.
Guardiola has been responding to quotes made in an exclusive interview with ESPN by Erling Haaland about the team lacking hunger. And he said if it's the feeling from Erling, the players should talk to each other and ask themselves why. Stevie, is that the right approach from the coach? Like, should players sort it out themselves, or is it down to the coach to instill that hunger within them?
Look, I think Erling Haaland was trying to say all the right things in this interview. He wasn't trying to be controversial. He was trying to be sensible and give some answers that maybe whoever was asking the question wanted to hear. And I think you can tell by Pep's answer that he knows that. And it was just lip service. I don't honestly think for a second Haaland thinks they lacked hunger. I think all the problems were completely different to that particular scenario. I think Haaland was just making a nice interview for whoever was...
Alexis
Yes.
Nunes, yes. Yes, Craig, what do you think about what Pep's had to say here, that the players should speak between themselves and ask themselves why?
Well, I think any player that lacks motivation. One former coach said to me once. He says, somebody once said to me, he said, "You're a great motivator of players." He said, "Whenever I go into a new job, I get all the players and I sit them around and I get in the centre of the dressing room and I look around every player in the eye and I find out which players I need to motivate, and then I get rid of them because you shouldn't need motivated, particularly not when you're playing at that level." And as Stevie said, that wasn't Man City's problems last year. Man City's problems were they lost Rodri, they had injuries, some of their big players like De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and one or two others started to tail off. And so in the end, Luis, I don't know about you, I don't think it was down to motivation. It was down to the fact they just were all over the place.
Yeah, I think the frustration is much more than the motivation. I think that every player is motivated. Of course, when the things are not going well, the motivation goes down a little bit because you don't know how to manage those kind of situations. I think Manchester City has been for such a long time at the top, keeping that intensity, keeping that consistency. So for such a long time that you get used to that. And in the moment that things are not going your way, you feel that is the motivation. But I think it's more the frustration on the players that they couldn't get the results and they were feeling the pressure. That's the only thing. And again, sometimes players talk to the press in a certain way that is not what is being talked in the dressing room, or maybe it's been addressed in a different way, or it's been get it in a different way. So at the end, it's about managing what message you send, but I don't think it's about motivation, and less with Erling Haaland that we've seen when he plays. It gives everything in every single game.
But I will say one thing, when coming from this player who's been obviously great for Man City, and he's had a sterling career thus far as a young player. But if you remember back to the game at Tottenham, the Carabao Cup game that seems ages ago, when Tottenham knocked him out that night, and Man City were still pretty much flying in all competitions, including, I think, in the Champions League at the time. And Haaland was caught on camera, along with Akanji and one or two others, laughing and giggling as they were going out that competition, almost as if the Carabao Cup was beneath them. And how things turned very, very quickly as their season derailed, and all of a sudden they went out of everything else. So I think sometimes as a player you have to be mindful about which words you use when you're talking about your squad and your teammate, and which players are motivated and which players are not, particularly when you've been caught sniggering on the camera when your team have just been beaten.
All fair point, Shaka?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, City have had their issues this season, quite clearly, which need addressing. I think players have a duty to hold each other accountable, as does Guardiola with his staff and his players. And the expectation of City, and they need to get back there. I think everybody has to have a little bit of a shift of mindset from what we witnessed during the course of this season in terms of getting back to where City expect to be, because at least now they know nothing is a foregone conclusion.
Okay, look at Newcastle against Chelsea. The odds here. Newcastle favourites coming into this game, neck and neck in the Premier League table, the two sides coming into it and going head-to-head at the weekend for what could be a season-defining game for both. This is a Champions League qualification 6-pointer. Who would you rather see in the Champions League next season, Craig?
I do apologise.
It's a little noisy here.
It's a bit noisy here, and Pete, the producer, was annoying me. And he only asked me 10 minutes ago. It's Newcastle versus...
Just the team you used to play for, Craig.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought we got Deportes over here in their studio, and believe it or not, they're damn noisy. They're damn noisy. You know what I mean? They're making a lot of noise. And so I Newcastle would be my answer, particularly because they're at home in front of that crowd, and I think they have the better chance of winning this game, maybe cementing that top five. I've liked what they've done for the bulk of the season. Obviously they won the Carabao Cup. Liverpool had an off day that day, but some of their performances this year have been very, very good, so I'm going to go for Newcastle.
Oh, I bet you are as well, Shaka, huh?
Yeah, pretty easy decision for me. Listen, it comes down to Newcastle at St James's Park, and I think given everything at stake, given everything we know about that crowd up in the northeast, I think Newcastle, and fairly comfortable Newcastle.
Stevie?
Newcastle. Yeah. You know, I said a couple of weeks ago that Chelsea's got a chance because they're winning games. They're not playing well, but somehow they've won games. They won against Fulham, they won against Everton, they beat Liverpool, and I thought they should have drawn all 3 of those games. I mean, 9 points, big difference to 3 points. But it's at Newcastle, and I just think that crowd and Newcastle are going to get after Chelsea, and I don't think Chelsea will be able to handle it. I'm absolutely going to go with Newcastle.
Who would you prefer to see in the Champions League, Luis? Newcastle or Chelsea?
And Newcastle. Don't ask me why, but
That's a question, isn't it? Which one do you hate more?
Yeah, I don't hate it. But I think that Chelsea is going to have the chance or the opportunity to win another trophy somewhere around. So I think the Newcastle is more focused on getting into the Champions League. So yeah, I will go for Newcastle.
Another Chelsea hater, not just me.
No hater. No.
Not just me, see.
So it's Newcastle all round, I think, at this stage. That, just to confirm, that was Newcastle for you as well, right, Craig?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still talking English. I think it was Newcastle.
There we go, just to make sure that everybody knows that Craig does still have those same sentiments for his former club, Chelsea.
Voice.
This week, the club and I, we have agreed that these 2 games are going to be my last 2 games as Bayer Leverkusen coach. We have been talking during this week that it's always about the momentum, and now is the right moment to announce it, because we have always had this good communication, this direct communication with the club, and now that we have clarity, it's emotional. I have talked this morning with the players, with the staff, with so many people that has helped me during this unbelievable, fantastic 3 years, and now it's the moment to share it as well with on Sunday, especially with the fans in this stadium. I think that we can be happy, we can be proud of what we have achieved during this time. Different moments, but always with a good feeling that we were taking the club in the right direction.
Dan's back with the boys now, and Dan, I'm sure this has gone down very quietly in Spain.
Well, yes, indeed. It's kind of the worst kept secret, isn't it? Xabi Alonso taking over, of course, from Real Madrid, in theory, is the second part of this secret still to be announced. And it's good that we got Luis here, because you joined Liverpool with Xabi Alonso. You both came in under Rafa at the same time. What can you tell us about him and his character that maybe people don't know, given the job that he has ahead of him, if indeed he does take over at Real Madrid?
Well, I think the first thing is that I think he showed us to all of us how composed he is in every single situation. It doesn't matter if he's in the right moments or the wrong moments, or in the bad situation, the good situation. He managed to keep that consistency on confidence. I think he's done a great job. He did it when he got in Leverkusen, because he was told to maybe link. Was a lot of links to Real Madrid in the past, to Liverpool. And he has done the previous step the way that you have to do it. He got his experience, he went to Leverkusen, he grabbed the team when in a bad situation, bring it to the best situation, won a Bundesliga. And now he finally arrived to Real Madrid. He knows that he's going to need a lot of changes. I think that they have to be on the table, but I think it is the right moment. I think the right opportunity for him to kind of change the direction of this Real Madrid and give it a soul, because I think that's what is missing.
So he's ready for it? You think he's... Because it's a huge challenge.
Yeah, well, it's very different going to Leverkusen, isn't it, when they're flirting with relegation, to go to Real Madrid, considering what's gone on this season.
Well, Ancelotti is one of the most decorated coaches managing in the game, and yet at times he goes to a press conference off the back of a couple of bad results, and they talk to him as if he's never coached before. Yeah. How does Xabi Alonso cope with scenarios like that if they raise their head?
To be honest, I'm looking forward to see that. I expect him to manage well those kind of situations, because he's got, again, that composure. It's true that at Leverkusen, everything has looked good, because you arrive to a team, there is no expectation, you win the Bundesliga, and this year there were expectations were there. I think that he managed well to understand that he's Leverkusen, that if Bayern Munich wins the trophy, it's going to be okay. But how long are you going to wait for that to happen? Maybe if you don't jump right now in Real Madrid, you are not there anymore for the next 5 years. You don't know who's going to arrive, he's going to do well. So I think it's the right moment and the right opportunity. I'm expecting him to change things, to manage the way he has done it with all those steps. Given time, we have to give him a little bit of time, but I expect Real Madrid to be a completely different team of what we've seen this year.
What's he going to be like going into that dressing room with so many big personalities? Like, how is he going to handle that?
But he's been there. I think you've been there as a player. You know which one can give you. And to be honest, there is not that many. If you see what the Real Madrid dressing room looks like, it's not that many. There is a young talent that they are there. I think the players are going to be hungry. If this season they don't win in the league, there is no trophies. So next season is all about you have to win the trophy. So every player is going to be hungry to get back into the trophy. So I'm expecting him to manage well that, because again, I know how he addresses the players. I know the feeling. I've seen the players reacting to the way that he managed the team, and I'm expecting him to do well.
It's a big ask, isn't it?
It is.
It's a big ask, but as Luis says, you say, nah, I'm not quite ready, I'm going to turn it down. It might never come around again. Just might never come around again, and then you sit back regretting. You don't want the regrets. You go in there, give it your best, see what you can do. Hopefully the players respond to you. Hopefully they listen. Hopefully their performances are better, and see where it takes you. But it's huge, and I don't know if it's better to come in off the back of a successful side, or come in off the back of a side that potentially hasn't won anything, and the manager's on the way out, and it needs a fresh voice. It needs something different. So I'm not quite sure what side I'm on in terms of what the best time is to come in, but the job's probably going to be there, and he's set himself up for the work that he's done at Leverkusen. And as I say, I think sometimes a dressing room just needs to hear a different voice and a fresh voice, and I think that is Xabi Alonso.
Did you always think he was going to be a manager? Was he one of those players you thought, that makes sense?
He was already managing when he was a player. He was asking, demanding the players where to go, how we have to play. I remember one of the Legends games that he came to play with Liverpool, and he was doing, it's a triangle, we have to press the other side. We were looking at him like, say, no, there's no more triangle. This is a Legends game. So but he's got that mentality.
Right, he can't switch it off.
No. He has that mentality, and he's got passion about football, and he dreams about football and talks about football, because I think that he knew from the very beginning when he retired that he was going, and he did that. So stop there. There was no TV. There was no ambassadorial thing that we always try. No. He went to coach. He started coaching under 15. He passed to second teams, and then he managed to in Leverkusen. So I think he has done the right path to have this opportunity, and let's see how it goes. But I think that his personality is linking very well with Real Madrid.
Well, he's not coming out for a beer. He's not coming out for a beer with us, then, is he?
Well, lucky him.
Well, no, because if he can't put the ball away for half an hour, stop talking about football.
So, would you describe him as your football friend?
Yes, I could.
So, what's going to happen now when your football friend is taking on Barcelona?
I wish him all the best, but I hope the Barcelona win.
Yeah, standard. Meanwhile, have you seen the big news that's broken over the last few hours?
No, which ones?
There's a massive shortage of salt in Barcelona after Craig decided to put
it was the chef.
half of it in the paella today. We went to a very special place, actually. It was the place in which Messi signed that famous napkin with his dad when he was 13 to commit his future to Barcelona. Have you been there? It's great.
I haven't been, but I remember.
It's a beautiful beautiful spot up near Montjuic, and it was great. They looked after us so well, and they taught Craig how to cook. I have never seen Craig so committed to something. Like, people were telling him what to do and he was doing
There's
it.
also a little tennis club there.
Yes.
Where we learned that our producer isn't actually as good at tennis as he told us, because he saw two players that were very good. But trust me on this. I had that paella.
Yeah.
Whatever you get, I had it seasoned perfectly. And the chef who was helping me came up, and a typical chef couldn't leave it alone.
Right.
And threw some more salt on it at the end.
Yeah.
And what was it?
I thought it was okay, but Gemma Soler and Dan Thomas complained that it was oversalted.
It wasn't great. It wasn't the best.
It was not me.
He's really got angry at that.
The chef almost got a slap.
But no, it was great, and thank you very much to everyone who did that. You could cook one again now, couldn't you?
Cook a paella?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
No one is after that. Trust me. Tomorrow, of course, we're heading over to the stadium.
I'll cook one for Stevie. He'll eat it. He'll eat a paella.
Yeah, Steve would want ground beef in it.
Put me minced beef and mashed potato in it.
Come on, Helena.
Tomato ketchup.
And actually take
That is not fish and chip paella.
Get rid of the rice.
That is not a
Get
fish and
rid
chip
of the
paella.
meat.
That is not.
No, so there's no ground beef paella.
No ground beef, mashed potato, ketchup, you name it. Carrots.
Hey, but Stevie, I promise you, he
vinegar
was
crisp.
really focused. He really wanted to do a good job, and he failed miserably.
Oh, no. Have you ever tried paella? Would you try Craig's? Just for Craig, to show support to your friends.
I'd maybe get a go. I mean, they're all here. Nobody had to stay in a hotel in bed being sick.
Yeah.
So I'd give it a try.
I wondered where he was going with that.
This is how things are looking in Shaka's power
Oh! Inter back in is the big surprise after their heroics against Barcelona. I think Barcelona were top last, well, not last week when I was here last, a couple of weeks ago. Inter in a 2, and then the usual shuffle. Liverpool, Barcelona who remain top in La Liga. I know Stevie's going to moan because they lost, but they're top in Spain, so they're in. Bayern have delivered silverware to Harry Kane, and that alone is worth a top half of the power ranking slot. Galatasaray continue just running away with things in Turkey. Napoli similarly in Italy. Sporting, Betis have only lost 1 in 16 in all competitions.
Por fin!
So they are in after Kay kept beating that drum. Betis are in at 9, Manchester City in at 10.
I can't complain, Shaka. You finally.
I think you
finally
find this is
gave
some
in.
of my best work ever, Kay.
Thanks to Anthony. I think Anthony's finally swayed it
Anthony's
for you.
in the top 10.
Yeah, are you okay with the power rankings, or are you annoyed, Stevie?
I'm not. I find it a little strange how Liverpool are in it. It's weird, isn't it?
What?
Well, they got beat at the weekend.
Yeah, but they're cruising. At this
How can you be third? How can you be the third best team on the planet? when you
Wrapped
got
up a
beat
league
at the
title
weekend?
with games to go.
Yeah,
That's still credit. Doesn't that give you credit?
It's the end of the season now.
Oh,
All right, I'm going to drop them out next week.
well, so you should. If they get beat, so you should. I'm just saying.
I expected them to
Other
lose
than
this
that,
weekend.
I'm all right with it.
Other than that, he's all right.
Yeah, well, that's as good as it's going to get from Stevie, I guess.
Yeah, you're right.
Never been.
Maybe as good as it's going to get from you, Shaka, because you finally gave in.
Yeah.
Delighted with that.
He threatened me.
All right. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We are keeping it in-house tonight with Shaka and Stevie.
Aye.
They are more than capable of answering your questions, though.
Good try.
I think.
Give it a go.
All right. Stevie and Shaka! Exclamation mark. Which attribute is better to have? Blessed with all the pace in the world, but having to work diligently on all aspects of your game to be the best you can be, or being a born natural to play the game, but having no pace whatsoever?
I'm going to go for the latter. I think you see far more footballers without pace but technical ability at the highest level. Now, pace is something clearly you can't coach, and it's always difficult to play against. But if they don't have any technical ability to go with that, then it doesn't work. I think the latter is the better to me.
Agree?
Yeah, brains will not always outdo pace, but with brains, you can nullify pace. Whenever you're playing against somebody who's like super quick, then you just got to be smart. And generally guys with so much pace don't have great brains either. There's one in the Premier League right now that I won't name, but I think we know who I'm talking about.
Oh, I could hazard a guess.
And so you can deal with it.
Sounds bitter.
No, honestly, brains will outdo pace the majority of the time.
You know who comes to mind immediately for me? Paul McGrath as a centre-back.
Right.
No pace. And one of the best centre-backs to have ever played the game. And zero pace up against very quick players. I mean, that just kind of speaks to this. And there are a ton of examples that follow.
So, does the Arsenal board give Arteta £100 million for a striker, or after 5.5 years, is he a dead man walking and the board looks to put someone else in the technical area?
Give him the 100 mil.
All day.
Give him the 100 mil. He's completely transformed the team from when he took over. And the only piece that's missing, has been missing for a while, has been the centre forward position. So 100%. You give him 100 million, get yourself a centre forward, and if you fail after that, then you change the person in the dugout.
If you could get anybody, if you were Mikel Arteta, who would it be?
I like Osimhen. But
You got to stick with what's available or what's possibly available.
and Osimhen is, but then the big stumbling block is reportedly his salary. But if we're just talking all things even, I think Osimhen is a good.
Surprised you didn't say Alexander Isak, the Newcastle
No,
man.
he's very happy where he is.
You can't get him.
He's very happy where he is. He's not leaving. I'm making sure.
Perfect would be Lewandowski. He would be absolutely perfect for Arsenal. But you're not getting him. The same way you're not getting Isak.
That's right, Stephen.
Ollie Watkins.
Even at
Watkins
Lewandowski's older age now, couldn't be enticing him for a little shot in the Premier League.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not right now.
For all, percentage chance Forest make top 5. We've got Leicester at the weekend.
Where are they now? I can't remember what your team looks like.
6th.
6th?
We talk about the top 5 literally every week.
I've been up though. I have not.
Doing
And
his
when I'm
power
off,
ranking.
I am not talking
might be
about
able
the
to
top
bring it
5
up
with the
for us.
misses.
They are sinking, and someone's fired a torpedo.
Oh, whoa, man.
We are actually going to bring it up for you guys. Just
Oh, yeah,
as a
yeah.
little
Oh, there,
reminder.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, nah. Top 5
Remember that Chelsea and Newcastle face off this weekend.
and Forest have Leicester.
Yes.
11%.
Specific.
Pull that.
Go for 11.
33 and a third. Because it really is. 33 and a third with Chelsea, Newcastle, and Forest.
Okay.
You've gone for the Don Hutchinson math there.
No, I got the percentages right. Don doesn't.
So if you're giving Nottingham Forest 33 and a third, are you giving Newcastle and Chelsea the same?
Yes.
So they all have an equal chance of finishing top 5,
Well, Forest are going to beat Leicester this weekend,
right?
right? That puts them on 64.
Right. You just
Either
described
Newcastle and
Forest.
Chelsea are going to be 64, or one of them is going to be 67, and the other one's going to be down in 60.
You just described Forest as a sinking submarine that's had somebody's fired a torpedo at it.
But then the facts of the weekend came to him and he's like, oh, hang on a minute.
All of a sudden, enter Leicester.
The plumber.
Leicester's the plumber.
Plumber's on his way to block up the hole.
So where do the rest of the percentages lie with your specific 11%?
11%. I go for 11%.
What's the next?
Nottingham Forest. Chelsea, I am going to go 39%. 50%. Newcastle. See how I did that? Quick math.
I saw what he did.
Mr. NASA, I should.
Quick math.
Shouldn't I?
He's a rocket scientist.
We've
exactly.
all backed Newcastle to beat Chelsea. That factored into my...
Stevie, Lamine, Ballon d'Or, why not?
Why not? Why not?
If PSG wins and Dembele scores a couple in the final, does he win it?
Yeah, does that then impact his chances now? Obviously, he set the world on fire, the football world at least, but obviously he's not going to be in the Champions League
Honestly,
final.
don't think. If you have a choice, play tomorrow, and you're picking either you have a choice of Dembele or Yamal, you are not picking Dembele. The majority are not picking Dembele. As good as he's been,
Agree with that.
as much as he could win
Yeah.
the Champions
It's all about who's had the better season. And if PSG go on and win it, and Dembele has a man-match
Yamal
performance
has
in the
been-
final,
Yamal, a whole season, has been consistent. Dembele didn't have a particularly great start before Christmas.
when's I see?
So-
This is things that confuse me. When's he voting? Kind of going back to the football writers thing. When do they vote? I'm asking you, Kay, because you're the knowledgeable one. Yeah,
Well,
you're
they
the
changed
knowledgeable
it.
one in this table.
They changed it, didn't they? They changed when the voting window
That didn't answer the question at all, you know.
Change it.
That didn't answer the question at all. Just
Change.
yeah. It used to be one day, but now they're doing it on a different day.
It was different back in my day.
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Change.
They changed whether it was the calendar year to the season, didn't they, or vice versa?
So when did they vote?
I don't know. The Ballon d'Or.
You see, now that is
So you're in the same boat as us. You're in fault.
Yeah,
boat.
yeah.
It's got a torpedo head.
I should know that,
changed
shouldn't
it.
I?
They changed, but at least we know
somebody-
that.
No one
At least we know they changed it.
Somebody that actually presented the Ballon d'Or
Twice.
twice doesn't know the rules.
Didn't even know when to show up.
How's that possible?
She didn't even know when to show up.
Oh no, you did well to get there.
It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
boy.
All right. According to German media, Florian Wirtz has agreed to join Bayern Munich. Does an attack with Musiala, Wirtz, Elise and Kane up front even work? And is he worth the hefty price tag of 125 million?
Which is a good player.
25 million.
I was about to say, you're asking the wrong people here. Who's worth 125 million? Just for starters, right? That's just kind of where we are.
Listen, Declan Rice was 100 and what?
Yeah, it was 105.
Don't start asking me all the questions.
Yeah, so why must- why must-
Declan Rice was like 105.
Yeah.
105.
Right.
If Declan Rice was 105, Florian Wirtz,
Florian Wirtz.
2 years later is 125. No question.
125, yes.
All right. You happy with them all playing together up front?
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, I am.
Well, hold on a minute. So you're actually only...
Yeah, I think that lot track back. They track back. I have no problem with that.
All right.
I think it works.
Shaka, for a final tomorrow, start, bench or drop these keepers. Donnarumma, Alisson, Courtois.
I start Courtois. I still think Courtois is the best goalkeeper in the world. I start Courtois. And while I was loving Donnarumma's performance, I still think Alisson is the more consistent, more reliable of the two goalkeepers. And again, I don't say that to take anything away from Donnarumma's performance against Arsenal, which was incredible. But if I had a choice, I'm going Alisson on the bench. But I'm starting Courtois. I think Courtois is still the best goalkeeper in the world.
Stevie, how big of a signing would De Bruyne be for Conte and Napoli?
Doesn't seem like a Conte type of player to me. And you've also got, how does that affect McTominay? McTominay's having a great season because he's got that licence to go from the middle into the box. How does that change the way Napoli play if De Bruyne is now there? Listen, De Bruyne is a great player, but it doesn't seem to me to be like a Conte player. I mean, can you think of anybody the Conte's had at Chelsea or anywhere else that was that sort of player where they had a licence to kind of roam and be more involved in what's going on going forward as opposed to having to get back and close people down?
Scott McTominay's a superstar there now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just it doesn't fit. De Bruyne and Conte doesn't sound like a partnership to me.
Okay. All right. Well, that will do it for the latest edition of Extra
That was
Time.
easy.
It was a
Thank
very
you so
somber
much for
ending.
joining us. We'll be back tomorrow to do it again.